Welcome back to our channel, Valuable Coins Hub. These rare states $quarter coins make people rich. Let's find out why. Don't miss out one of these who know a single coin make you rich. Number 1. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most iconic and widely collected coins from the United States, the 1999 Delaware state quarter. At first glance, it may look like just another quarter, but trust me, some versions of this coin are far from ordinary. In fact, they could be hiding a surprising amount of value in your pocket change. So, whether you're a longtime coin collector or just someone who enjoys a good treasure hunt, make sure to stick around, because what you learn today might just turn spare change into serious cash. Let's begin our journey with a bit of background. The Delaware quarter was the very first coin released in the U.S. state quarters program, which began in 1999. It marked the start of a historic 10-year series where each of the 50 U.S. states was honored with its own unique design. On the back of a quarter. Delaware's coin features a bold image of Caesar Rodney, a key figure in the American Revolution. He's shown on horseback, representing his legendary 70-mile ride through a thunderstorm to cast a crucial vote for American independence. It's not just a coin. It's a symbol of urgency, freedom, and a turning point in U.S. history. Now here's where it gets exciting for collectors. While millions of these quarters were made, not all are created equal. And yes, some rare versions of this coin can be worth far more than 25 cents. You might be asking, what makes one Delaware quarter more valuable than another? The answer: condition, mint mark, and most importantly, errors. Let's start with mint marks. The Delaware quarter was minted at 3 U.S. mints: Philadelphia, marked with a P, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. Coins from San Francisco were only made as proofs and never meant for general circulation. If you find an S-mint proof coin, especially one in perfect, uncirculated condition, it can already be worth a few dollars or more, depending on its grade. But here's where things really get interesting: minting errors. Some 1999 Delaware quarters were struck with major die errors, and these are what collectors are truly hunting for. One of the most famous errors is known as the spitting horse error. It looks like there's a line or spit coming from the horse's mouth, a die crack that gives the illusion of the horse actually spitting. This quirky and unusual flaw made the error instantly popular among collectors. Another known error includes off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong metal blanks. These errors are rare, but when found, they can command big prices. So what are we really talking about in terms of value? Let's break it down. A regular 1999 Delaware quarter from circulation is generally worth face value, just 25 cents. However, a mint state coin, graded MS-65 or higher, can sell for $3 to $10. A proof coin from San Francisco, especially in perfect PR69 or PR70 condition, can go for $5 to $30 depending on the demand. Now here's where the serious money comes in. If you find a Delaware quarter with a major error, like the spitting horse in high grade, those coins have sold at auctions for as much as $100 to $250, and some extremely rare die varieties in near-perfect condition have even reached prices over $500 in one known auction. A rare Delaware quarter with an off-metal strike, a coin struck on the wrong type of planchet, sold for over $1,000 due to its rarity and error classification. So yes, a tiny little quarter from 1999 could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, but only if it has that magical combination of rarity, pristine condition, and a unique error. The key takeaway? Always check your change. Examine your old coin jars. You never know. You might just have a piece of American history that's also a collector's treasure. If you enjoyed learning about this fascinating coin and want more deep dives into rare and valuable coins from around the world, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a discovery. Number 2, we're riding into the heart of the Bluegrass State as we explore one of the most beautiful and historically rich coins in the U.S. State Quarter Series, the 2001 Kentucky Quarter. Now, if you've ever held on to one of these coins or found one in your change, don't rush to spend it just yet. Because today, we're uncovering how some of these seemingly ordinary Kentucky quarters could be hiding serious value. And yes, in some cases, even hundreds or thousands of dollars. So make sure to watch until the very end, because we're about to reveal the real market and auction prices that might just blow your mind. Let's begin with the story behind the coin. Released in 2001 as the 15th coin in the U.S. State Quarters program, the Kentucky Quarter is a beautiful tribute to a state known for its legendary horse racing, historic estates, and rich cultural heritage. The The design on the reverse side of the coin features Federal Hill, the famous mansion that inspired the classic song My Old Kentucky Home. And in front of it, a fence and a proud thoroughbred horse, a powerful symbol of Kentucky's status as the horse capital of the world. This coin doesn't just capture the identity of Kentucky, it's a true piece of American culture stamped in metal. But now, let's get to the part you've been waiting for. What makes this coin valuable? And why collectors are always hunting for the rarest versions. Even though millions of Kentucky quarters were minted, more than 700 million combined from the Philadelphia and Denver mints, not all are equal. The real value comes from mint condition examples, proof coins, and most importantly, minting errors. Let's break that down. If you've got a Kentucky quarter with a P mint mark, it was made in Philadelphia. A D means it came from Denver. There are also special S mint proof coins made in San Francisco, which were only sold to collectors and never meant for circulation. These proof coins are often found with mirror-like finishes and flawless details, and when preserved well, they can bring solid value. But what truly excites collectors are error coins, and yes, the 2001 Kentucky quarter has some interesting ones to look out for. One of the most well-known errors is the off-center strike, where the design is noticeably shifted away from the center of the coin. This can be a minor misalignment or a dramatic 50% off-center strike, which makes the coin look almost misshaped. The more extreme the error and the better the condition, the higher the value. Another error is the clipped planchet, where a portion of the coin is literally missing due to a mishap during minting. These are easy to spot and are considered quite collectible. And then there are the die cracks, cuds, and double dies. A double die, for example, can make parts of the design, like the lettering or the horse, appear duplicated or shadowed. These visual oddities are highly sought after and can significantly increase a coin's value, especially when certified by a reputable grading service. But remember, the key to top value is condition. A Kentucky quarter straight from circulation might not be worth more than face value, but one in mint state condition, especially graded MS-65 or higher, can fetch a solid price among collectors. Alright, let's talk numbers. What's this coin really worth? A regular 2001 Kentucky quarter found in your pocket is still worth just 25 cents. However, if you find one in mint state condition, especially with a grade of MS-66 or MS-67, it can sell for $10 to $30. Proof versions from San Francisco, especially deep cameo proofs, are typically valued between $5 and $15, depending on the grade. Now, here's where it gets exciting. A 2001 Kentucky quarter with a dramatic off-center strike error, in high grade, has sold at auction for over $250. A coin with a double die error can go for $100 to $400 depending on how strong the doubling is and how well the coin is preserved. And rare combinations like a proof coin struck on the wrong planchet have crossed the $1,000 mark at auction. So yes, that little Kentucky quarter in your drawer might just be worth more than you think, especially if you've got an eye for detail and know what to look for. Before you spend it, inspect it. Check for mint marks, unusual markings, and always consider the condition. Could be your next big find. Number 3, we're taking a closer look at one of the most iconic state quarters in the entire 50 state quarters program, the 2001 New York quarter. Now, at first glance, this coin may seem like any ordinary 25-cent piece, but hang tight, because what lies beneath its surface could be worth much more than pocket change. So grab your coin jars and pay close attention, because this is the kind of treasure hunt you don't want to miss. Some versions of this coin are more than just currency. They're collectibles, and in rare cases, they can even be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let's start with the story behind this beautiful coin. The New York quarter was released in 2001, making it the 11th coin in the state quarters program. The design is packed with symbolism. It features the Statue of Liberty proudly standing in front of an outline of the state of New York, with lines radiating outward to represent the state's role as a gateway to freedom. There's also the inscription Gateway to Freedom, a powerful nod to the millions of immigrants who entered America through New York. It's not just a quarter. It's a miniature monument to liberty and American history. But let's talk about what makes this coin special in the eyes of collectors. Now, over 1 billion New York quarters were minted between the Philadelphia, P, and Denver, D mints. That means this coin is not exactly rare in terms of how many were produced. But as every serious collector knows, rarity isn't always about how many exist. It's about how many survive in pristine condition or with unique errors. And yes, there are rare and valuable versions of the 2001 New York quarter that have sold for impressive prices. But how do you spot them? Let's break it down. First, condition matters. A New York quarter pulled straight from circulation might be scratched or worn, and usually worth only face value. But a coin in mint state condition, especially one graded MS65, MS66 or higher, becomes instantly more desirable. These coins often look untouched, with sharp details and no signs of wear. The kind of quarter that's been sitting untouched since 2001. But what really spikes the value? Errors. And yes, the New York quarter has a few notable ones that collectors go crazy for. One of the most sought after is the off-center strike, where part of the design is missing or shifted due to a misaligned strike during minting. These errors are dramatic and instantly visible, and the more off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. Another big one is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck more than once with a slight misalignment, causing parts of the design, like the letters or Liberty's torch, to appear doubled. These are harder to spot but extremely collectible. Then there's the clad layer missing error, where one layer of the coin's metal is missing, giving the coin a dull, coppery look. These types of minting errors are rare and always in high demand. And of course, proof coins minted in San Francisco with an S mint mark are always worth checking. These coins were never intended for circulation and were only made for collectors. If you find one in deep cameo-proof condition, especially graded PR69 or PR70, that's where the real value can come in. Now let's get to the part you've been waiting for, the actual value. A circulated 2001 New York quarter is usually worth just 25 cents. But if you've got one in mint state condition, say MS65 or MS66, it can be worth anywhere from $5 to $15. The better the grade, the higher the price. A certified proof coin from the San Francisco Mint can sell between $10 and $25, depending on condition and demand. But here's where things really heat up. A New York quarter with a major off-center error, especially in near-perfect condition, has sold at auction for over $300. A double die version, though harder to find, can bring in $150 to $400, depending on how dramatic the doubling is. And the rarest finds? One New York quarter struck on the wrong planchet, a rare type of mint error, sold at auction for over $1,000. So if you've got a jar of quarters sitting around, don't overlook the 2001 New York quarter. Examine it carefully. Look for errors, check for mint marks, and always pay attention to the condition, because what looks like just another coin could actually be a hidden treasure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of coin collecting, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on another valuable find. Number 4, we're saddling up and heading south, deep into the heart of Texas, to take a closer look at the 2004 Texas State Quarter. This isn't just any old coin you might find jingling around in your drawer, because believe it or not, some of these Texas quarters are actually worth big money. Yes, we're talking rare errors, collector demand, and the surprising value that hides behind this little piece of metal. So if you love US coins or just enjoy the thrill of uncovering something valuable, stick around. You're going to love what you hear. Let's start with the design, because this coin proudly screams Texas pride. Released in 2004, the Texas Quarter was the 28th coin in the U.S. Mint's 50-state quarters program. The reverse side of the coin features a lone 5-pointed star, a symbolic nod to Texas's nickname, the Lone Star State, and a lasso encircling the design, representing the spirit of the Wild West and the cowboy culture that defines Texas history. Behind it all is the outline of the state itself, bold and unmistakable that it's one of the most recognizable and best-loved designs in the entire series. But of course, not all Texas quarters are created equal. While the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of Texas quarters, more than 350 million from the Philadelphia Mint and another 263 million from the Denver Mint. Most of those were released into circulation and spent, scratched, and worn down. The real value comes from those coins that were either perfectly preserved or came off the press with unusual and rare minting errors. So what exactly should you be looking for? First and foremost, condition. If you've got a Texas quarter that looks like it just came out of a fresh roll without scratches, dings, or wear, you might be looking at a mint state coin. These can be graded from MS60 all the way to MS70, and the higher the grade, the more collectors will pay. But here's where things really get exciting: error coins. Collectors love error coins because they're unique, they're fun to hunt for, and they often bring in big money. One error to watch for is the off-center strike. That's when the coin wasn't perfectly aligned during the minting process, and the design is noticeably shifted or cut off. The more dramatic the off-center error, especially if part of the lettering or design is missing, the more valuable the coin. Another one is the double die error. This is when the coin was struck twice, slightly misaligned, and it can cause the text or parts of the image to look shadowed or doubled. These are much rarer and can be very desirable if spotted. And don't forget about clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin's metal is literally missing due to a miscut blank. These are visually obvious and always catch a collector's attention. Some Texas quarters also show die chips, where extra metal builds up in parts of the design, especially around the star or the lasso. While smaller die chips are common, large or oddly shaped ones can drive up value. Lastly, look for proof coins from the San Francisco Mint. These have an S mint mark and were specially made for collectors with mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. If kept in pristine condition, they can be far more valuable than the average coin. Now, let's talk money. How much are these Texas quarters really worth today? A regular 2004 Texas quarter from circulation is still worth just 25 cents. But a coin in mint state condition, graded MS65 or higher, can sell for $5 to $15, and in MS67 or above, prices can reach $40 to $1.75, a San Francisco proof version, especially one graded PR69 or PR70 deep cameo, can bring in $10 to $25 depending on demand. But here's the real treasure. Coins with major minting errors. A Texas quarter with a dramatic off-center strike has sold at auction for over $250. A double die variety, though rare, can fetch $150 to $400 depending on how noticeable the doubling is. And get this, one Texas quarter struck on the wrong planchet, meaning it was mistakenly minted on a foreign coin blank, sold at auction for an incredible $200. So before you toss that quarter into the vending machine, give it a second look. A small detail, a missing letter, a doubled word, a misaligned design, could turn your everyday coin into a collector's dream. Number 5 and last unique coin, we're spotlighting a beautiful piece of the 50-state quarter series, the United States Maryland quarter from the year 2000. At first glance, it may seem like a regular 25-cent piece, but some of these coins could be worth a lot more than face value, especially if you know what to look for. Let's break it down. The Maryland quarter was released in 2000, and it features the Maryland State House dome, surrounded by white oak branches. It's a nod to history and strength, and of course, the coin proudly displays Maryland's nickname, the Old Line State. Now here's the thing. More than 1.2 billion Maryland quarters were minted. That means, in circulated condition, most are very common. But that doesn't mean yours isn't valuable. What makes some of these coins worth more? It comes down to mint mark, condition, and mint errors. If your Maryland quarter has no scratches, no wear, and a shiny, flawless surface, especially if it came from a mint roll or collector set, you could be looking at a mint state coin, which collectors are eager to find. But the real excitement, error coins. Here are a few to look out for: off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned; clipped planchets, coins missing a chunk, like a crescent; double die errors, where the letters or design appear slightly doubled; die cracks and cuds, raised bumps or blobs from a damaged die. These kinds of minting mistakes turn ordinary coins into rare collectibles. And let's not forget about the proof coins minted in San Francisco with an S mint mark. These were made for collectors with sharp detail and mirror-like surfaces. In perfect condition, they're always worth holding on to. So what's the value? Here's the real market breakdown. A regular Maryland quarter in circulation, still worth 25 cents in mint state condition. It can be worth $5 to $20. High-grade examples, MS67 or MS68, can reach $50 to $150. A San Francisco proof coin in pristine shape, around $10 to $25. And rare error coins like off-center strikes or clipped planchets have sold for $200 to over $1,000, depending on severity and condition. So before you spend that Maryland quarter, check it closely. That small piece of metal might be hiding big value. If you enjoyed this quick breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell for more coin stories that could turn your pocket change into real treasure. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.